The expensive executive office fell completely silent the moment the young cleaning woman rushed back toward the trash bin, her trembling hands reaching forward as if the small gray lunch bag inside was worth more than anything else in the building. Her voice barely escaped her lips. "Please, don't throw away my lunch." Before anyone could ask why, tears filled her eyes, she turned around, and hurried out of the office with her head lowered. The CEO stared at the forgotten lunch bag for several long seconds. Something about the fear in her eyes didn't make sense. Slowly, he reached inside, unzipped the bag, and instantly froze. Before we continue, if you believe kindness and second chances can change someone's life, please take a second to like this video, comment below, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. We'd also love to know where you're watching from, so tell us your country in the comments. Your support helps these meaningful stories reach more hearts around the world. Miles Aldridge had built one of the largest technology companies in Chicago. Newspapers called him the youngest billionaire CEO in the state. Employees respected his intelligence but feared his strict standards. Every minute mattered to him, every mistake had consequences, and every department understood that waste of any kind was unacceptable. The previous afternoon he had walked through the executive floor when he noticed an old gray lunch bag sitting inside a conference room refrigerator without any name on it. Believing it had been abandoned for days, he instructed the office manager to throw it away during cleanup. The next morning, while inspecting the office before an important investor meeting, he saw the cleaning staff searching nervously through the trash container. That was when the young woman named Marin quietly whispered those unforgettable words asking him not to throw away her lunch. She wasn't crying because she had lost a meal. She was crying because she had lost something much more precious. As Miles slowly unzipped the faded lunch bag, he expected to find a sandwich or leftovers. Instead, resting carefully inside was a tiny plastic container wrapped in a clean white cloth. Beneath it sat a stack of handwritten birthday cards, each signed by the same little girl in colorful crayon. There was also a worn photograph showing Marin sitting beside a smiling elderly woman and a little boy no older than 7. Folded underneath everything was a letter addressed simply, "For Mom." Miles unfolded the paper. The handwriting belonged to a child. The letter explained that every afternoon Marin divided her lunch into 3 portions. One piece was for herself. One was for her little son waiting after school. The smallest portion was for her mother recovering from cancer treatments who often couldn't eat much except soft homemade soup. Inside the container was that very soup, prepared before sunrise every single morning because hospital food made her mother sick. The birthday cards belonged to her son, who insisted they should always stay inside the lunch bag because they reminded Grandma to keep fighting. Miles felt his chest tighten. The expensive office around him suddenly disappeared. All he could see was the careful way every item had been packed with love. For years he had made million-dollar business decisions without hesitation, yet now his hands were shaking because of a lunch bag that probably cost less than $20. Later that afternoon he quietly asked Human Resources about Marin. What he learned haunted him. She worked 2 jobs every day, slept barely 4 hours each night, never accepted charity, never complained, and had perfect attendance despite taking buses across the city before sunrise. Several co-workers admitted they often saw her skipping meals, believing she simply wasn't hungry. No one realized she was saving food for her family. That evening Miles drove alone to the hospital listed on the visitor sticker attached to the lunch container. He stood outside the room before finally walking in. Marin looked horrified when she saw him. She immediately apologized, believing she had somehow broken company policy. Instead, Miles quietly placed the lunch bag back into her hands. Nothing else needed to be explained. He had already understood everything. Over the following weeks, changes quietly spread throughout the company. Without announcing the reason, Miles introduced free daily family meals for every employee, expanded healthcare benefits, created emergency childcare assistance, and established a confidential hardship fund that allowed struggling workers to receive help without embarrassment. The cafeteria also began preparing fresh meals employees could take home every evening. Most workers assumed these improvements were part of a new corporate strategy. Only Miles knew they had all started because of one forgotten lunch bag. Months later, Marin's mother completed her final cancer treatment. Her little son proudly handed Miles one of his handmade birthday cards as a thank you gift. It wasn't expensive. It wasn't framed. But Miles placed it inside his office where every executive meeting took place. Whenever someone praised his leadership, his eyes quietly drifted toward that colorful card. It reminded him that companies are built with profits. But great legacies are built with compassion. If this story has touched your heart so far, please take a moment to like, share, and leave a comment. Your engagement helps spread stories of hope and kindness to people who may need them today. Before we end, please comment with just one word: kindness. Let's fill the comments with a reminder that even the smallest act of compassion can change someone's life forever. From that day forward, Miles never judged another employee by appearances or assumptions. Every lunch bag, every tired face, and every quiet smile reminded him that everyone carries a story invisible to the world. Sometimes the greatest lesson doesn't arrive inside a boardroom or a billion-dollar contract. Sometimes it arrives inside a worn gray lunch bag, packed not with food, but with love, sacrifice, and the quiet courage of a mother who refused to give up on the people waiting for her at home. And in opening that forgotten lunch, one CEO didn't just discover another person's struggle, he rediscovered his own humanity.